This hail core, I don't think I've ever seen one like this in central Texas, right over the metro areas, but at least not in a while. But that is some pretty big hail. Again, the indications are 5.5 inches. So you're looking at softball size hail there in downtown Round Rock. And let's zoom in on that and give you a good idea of right where that is. I mean, no matter where you are in Round Rock, you're probably getting at least some kind of hail. But this could be rather destructive. And the folks that live between Old Settlers Boulevard and Round Rock Avenue to the west of I-35, you got to hunker down. You got to get into the interior part of your house. Stay away from the windows. Don't let anybody go outside. If there's hail this size coming down, there's no chance of saving anything that might be damaged now. And so you get out in it, and you could certainly be seriously injured. In fact, around the world, there are a number of hail deaths every year by people who get caught in these very large hailstones. So that's not the radar. That's the hail right over Round Rock, now shifting southward. Not quite as intense as it was during the last scan, but that's still going to be some sizable hail, probably 3.5 inches. So it's like baseball-size hail coming down I-35 there in Round Rock. And so this is going to be a very significant storm for everybody in that area. And this storm continues to try to hook. We've seen a couple of times this has happened. The storm's been trying to hook on that western end. We don't want to see that, but there it is. Again, we're not getting a really strong indication that there's a tornado in there, but it is certainly possible as the storm pushes southward through the Round Rock area. And I apologize to our subscribers in Dallas. I've been focusing on what appears to be the most intense storm right now. I want to go back to the storm we have working up in Dallas. It has continued to be severe, but it's now moving mainly into Ellis County, and that warning has been extended past until 10 o'clock. But again, it's mainly South Dallas County and northern Ellis County. That's where we're seeing some intense rainfall and some large hail. And you know it's got to have hail in it. Not as big as the stuff we're seeing down in central Texas, but there's hail sizes up to 1.5 inches. So that's like almost golf ball size hail there. So that's the storm that's ongoing in the Dallas area, and we want to make sure that we serve y'all. But we're doing a lot to cover a lot of Texas this evening. And so that storm not looking all that threatening. I mean, obviously it's making some hail and some gusty winds and some torrential downpour, dangerous lightning. But it is moving off to the southeast. There's a bit of redevelopment behind it. But each redeveloping cell is encountering a bit more worked over atmosphere. And so over time, the chance of severe weather continues to decline. But at this point, we still have this one storm in southern Dallas County that has reached severe limits, but is beginning to move into northern Ellis County now. So that's the update in Dallas. Let's head back to central Texas, where we've got a very intense storm about to move right down I-35 into the Austin area. Let's check our hail scan once again. For that area, here's the correct radar. And again, this storm continues to try to hook. So we've got a lot of shear in the atmosphere, especially at the upper levels. And this storm has been trying to hook out for a while. And I continue to urge folks from Jollyville to Round Rock, west of 35 around Wells Branch, go ahead, find the safe place in your house. Get on the lowest floor that you can. You want to stay away from windows. If you've got you've got an interior room like a laundry room or a closet or a bathroom or maybe under some stairs, that's probably where you want to move everybody. And you definitely want to stay away from the windows. One of the things I used to tell my kids when they were little is that if you start to hear glass break, that's when you have to take action and get into a safe place as quickly as possible. Because once that starts to occur, if there's a tornado, you have really only seconds before you'll begin to feel the effects of a storm at the level of a tornado. So there's that. Let's go back to the radar. The storm continues to try to hook out, but hasn't really done so yet. So what we're looking at now is hail. We've still got a very intensive a core of hail now covering a pretty wide area. This is going to be, let's just see, we're looking at about a 10 or 12 mile across hail core there. So this is potentially producing a lot of damage, especially if it's as large as what we're seeing indicated here on the radar. That's going to be, where did it go? That's going to be 3-inch hail. So that's approaching baseball size in some areas. And that is going to be causing a lot of damage. So if you're anywhere near this hail core, get away from windows. Get down on the lowest level of your home if you can. We're seeing really just a very intense storm that continues to try to hook, and I wish it would stop doing that. But yeah, we're seeing what looks to be some developing rotation there on the west side of the city around Parmer and McNeil. That's going to be in the Rattan Creek area, along 183 on the northwest side of the city, Wells Branch Parkway. This is not a confirmation, but it is a very strong indication that we've got at least some kind of rotation going on in that area. And when coupled with the radar presentation, that's something that it gives us a warning. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. For the folks in Central Texas, you need to be taking your precautions now. Anywhere from, let's say, Tech Ridge over towards Wells Branch, and now the north side of the Research Boulevard area. You've got not only some very gusty winds coming in, but potentially some kind of rotation. Now, not far away. That's going to be in this part of the storm right here. That's the hail core. We're seeing what looks to be baseball size, maybe even larger hail coming out of that system right there. It's not good. And that hail core looks to be about 10 miles across. So that's a lot of hail, up to almost 3.5 inches in diameter. That's going to cause significant damage. And again, we're looking at downtown Round Rock there, Gaddis School Road, I-35, the toll road on the south side, McNeil on the west side. That is going to be significant damage for the Round Rock area, and now moving into the Austin area as well. So if you're up in Dallas and you're saying, well, what's going on here? Well, I'm trying to do the best I can to keep everybody informed. So we've got that intense storm about to move into a heavily populated area of Austin. The storm still in Dallas is about to move into Ellis County. Southern Dallas County is still affected. And I'm guessing that's the old one, so that one just expired. All right, so we've still got some strong storms around the Dallas area. These are probably producing some small hail and certainly some gusty winds. There's the hail signature for you, and that's below severe limits. That's about half-inch hail, maybe nickel-sized or thereabouts, and that continues to be the worst that we're seeing out of the Dallas area storm. And now, as we mentioned, the severe warning storm is now pushing out of Dallas County and mainly into Ellis County around Lancaster. So that's what's going on for you, Dallas. You still got some other storms around and really intense storms over in northeast Texas. But that's what you've got at this point. And most of these are getting probably to be high-based. I'm seeing what looks like the frontal boundary spreading across the region here. So that may be the cold front. That'll probably bring it in to just about everything. So we've got a little while to go with these storms around Dallas. And then that cold front should pretty much take care of at least the low-level inflow. And severe weather shouldn't be quite as much of an issue. Now, that's not the case. Down in central Texas, again, everybody in Round Rock and Austin, if you can hear me, this is a good time to move into an interior room away from windows on the lowest floor of the house or a structure that you live in if you can, and be prepared. Now, I do see something a little bit hopeful here. The black echoes that we were seeing up here around Round Rock, those have diminished somewhat. So this storm may begin to lose some of its punch as it heads southward towards downtown Austin. We're seeing a pretty, well, that's not very good there, but let's see. We've still got a very large hail core. This is starting to affect areas around Pflugerville and then down towards Dessau, but primarily right along I-35 around Palmer Lane and up towards about 1825 and Wells Branch Parkway. So that is where the very large hail is falling right now. That's in the Austin area. And again, that's going to be some really significant damage if these images are verified. Okay, so Williamson County, the warning has been extended. There's far too many warnings to go on right now. Let's go back to social media and see what we've got there. There's some more hail pictures. Now, again, I apologize. I don't know exactly where these are from, but that's going to be about 1-inch hail there, or maybe even 2-inch hail. And you can see that's what it looks like when it falls. Tree damage, probably some car damage. There's a quick shot of some of that hail. You don't want to get out in that. In fact, you probably are a little too close right here, whoever's taking this video. But that's off of social media. That's just some of the hailstorms that are ongoing across the area. And mostly probably about 1 inch in diameter, a lot of this hail. But we've certainly seen, well, there's a, how big is a Kit Kat bar? Well, it's about that big. But there's a good indication. You know, if you take pictures of hail, make sure you have like a quarter. That's the way to do it, the common object, so we can compare the sizes of the hail. So back to the radar. That's right there and almost into Austin proper now. That's what's going on down in central Texas. Let's put on the radar. That is not the only severe storm out here for central Texas. We also have, I'm not sure what that box is. Okay, so we're still under the watch, and we knew that. And there's the warning advisory, but I'm not, okay. You'll excuse me here for a moment that I'm not sure where that's coming from. All right, well, that being said, not the only severe storm, and again, this storm just won't quit trying to hook. I mean, that's not good. Let's go back to the velocity scan. I was going to try to check on Dallas, but this is obviously a much more significant storm ongoing in the Austin area right now. So luckily, we're not seeing any really sharp presentation that would indicate that there's a tornado rotation, but there is at least broad rotation across this area. And it's basically North Austin, around Wells Branch, all the way down to, let's say, the Spicewood Springs area, on the northwest side of Austin. So those folks in that area, get away from the windows, move to the interior of your house. You're probably getting some really gusty winds in there as well. And we continue to see storm reports add up here with many reports of hail, 1 3/4 inches and larger across the area. So that's the velocity scan. Here's again the storm trying to hook out. It really is thankfully not winning, but and here's another thing. It looks like the intensity is beginning to tick downward just a bit. So that's good. This storm may have peaked already right over Round Rock, where the rain is just about to end. So what else have we got going on here? Well, there's some strong storms out in Liberty Hill. Here's some severe weather out in Gillespie County, now moving into Kendall County, and then with some other storms out in Mason County and points westward. So lots of severe weather ongoing. All right, so we've covered that. Let's go back to Dallas. Look at that. It looks like the main storm, well, we're on the wrong radar, so let me fix that. Here's the correct one. So we're still seeing some strong storms, but sub-severe across the Dallas area up to Irving. Some redevelopment now occurring. And again, I keep thinking that these storms are going to work over the atmosphere and we're going to lose some of the punch. But that doesn't seem to be occurring. We're still having some elevated, well, what's happening? Look at there. There's the front moving in. So maybe that's what's firing these off, is the front moving into that vicinity. So there you can see that line right there. That's the cold front we've been talking about. As it encounters the very unstable atmosphere over the region, we're beginning to see some pretty rapid development. That being said, we've already worked over the atmosphere with some strong and severe storms. And so there may be a little bit less energy to work with as that front, which extends right through here, as that pushes on in. So I would imagine we're already seeing some gusty northerly winds in Grapevine and up towards Denton and McKinney. Those areas have largely missed out on the rain as far as I recall. And now there might have been some showers up there, but I think along Highway 380 we kind of missed out on a lot of that. Most of it's been down in Fort Worth and Dallas proper. And so as far as the Dallas area, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, mainly for Ellis County now. Well, and there it went. They just now updated it. The storms in Dallas County have fallen below severe limits, so that storm is now in Ellis County. We still got some redevelopment, so we're not quite out of the woods yet, but these storms are less likely, in my opinion, to be severe than the ones we've seen already. And that's not to say we couldn't still see hail and some damaging winds. In fact, let's just look and see if there's hail. Yeah, there's at least some hail showing up there. But again, this is below severe limits, about 1/2 inch to 6/10 of an inch. All of that is below severe limits for hail. And the severe thunderstorm warning for south central Dallas County now canceled as the storm has moved out of the area. That being said, we've got still storms ongoing around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. At this point, they are sub-severe, but they are still somewhat intense and producing some small hail and some gusty winds. With that, we want to send Dallas, we're going to rejoin Spectrum News in progress. So we can focus on the very intense storms in central Texas. We're going to keep an eye on y'all, but everything in your area right now is below severe limits. And that being the case, just be on the lookout for some heavy rain, maybe some small hail, some gusty winds. But I'm hoping that storms in the Metroplex will remain below severe limits. I'll be back immediately if that should be proved to be incorrect. But you've got some storms around this evening. They'll likely move out in the next hour or so. And the cold front is already pushing, approaching downtown Dallas, as best I can tell right now. But once that moves through, that should pretty much cut off the severe weather there. So, Master Control, in the next few minutes, well, let's go ahead and wait until 9:30. and we'll send the Dallas-Fort Worth area, let them rejoin Spectrum News in Progress. But again, be cautious if you have to be out and about, as there's going to be a lot of ponding on the roadways, probably some nuisance flooding. It's just not a good evening to be out driving around. And it's Sunday night, so you're not going to be going anywhere anyhow. Again, we'll continue to watch these storms in the Dallas area, but they continue to lessen in intensity as we go across the area. So let's head back to the Austin area. Excuse me. I've been talking for about 4 hours straight now, so it's starting to get a little tough. But thank you for bearing with me through all of this. There's that storm in North Austin that has kept trying to hook out but has never really succeeded, and that is certainly okay with me. I've seen one tornado up close and personal in my life, and that was the Gerald tornado. And I would rather not ever see that again. At any rate, this storm was earlier producing just really some massive hail in the Round Rock area, still seeing a hail core a good 10 miles wide, and that is going to be causing some damage. It's moving right down I-35 and is beginning to approach the central downtown district. In fact, yeah, it's on the north side of the city right now. And as we've been seeing that the hail sizes are up to 3 inches. So we're looking at close to, at least bigger than golf ball, maybe close to baseball size hail out of some of these storms. So we're approaching 9:30 now. And Master Control, let's take one last look at Dallas-Fort Worth and let them rejoin Spectrum News in Progress. Let me get myself oriented here up the road to Dallas. Again, there's some hail, small hail, in that cluster around Dallas, but there's the big hail core down around Waxahachie now. But let's put the radar back on here. Again, these are some significant storms, and in a normal night, we would definitely be covering this, but we've had a number of severe storms. Now these storms appear to be sub-severe. There's still quite a bit of them, so lots of heavy rain, gusty wind, and dangerous lightning. But as we can see, or could see earlier, what appears to be the cold front is heading down and beginning to cross through the Metroplex. And that will likely really lessen the chances of severe weather through the remainder of the evening. Now, that's not to say that all storms are going to end all at once, but it seems unlikely that we'll see additional, or at least I hope it's unlikely, that we'll see additional severe storms in Dallas and Tarrant counties. We're going to return that area to Spectrum News, and we'll continue to watch it. Should there be some new developments, we'll be back in just a few minutes. So it's 9:29 now. We've had numerous reports around Garland, a couple of hours ago now, very large hail. Let me take a quick look and see if what kind of storm reports we're looking at. Yeah, there you go. So we had some large hail up around Garland and on the north side of the city, and then we've had some other hail around Arlington. There's all the hail reports down towards Waxahachie, over here in Commerce earlier. Back over this way. Where is it? So there's some wind damage and some other things being reported out of those areas. So again, we have some fairly strong storms still ongoing, but these are sub-severe. So with that, we'll return the Dallas zone back to Spectrum News. Okay, thank you. All right, so we're continuing now our special coverage in Central Texas, severe weather event that is covering the whole state. And I appreciate you putting up with me having to talk about Dallas and the Austin area at the same time. But that's simply the way it has to be for this evening. Now, we've had what is apparently a really intense hailstorm in parts of Williamson County, especially around Round Rock. We're still seeing indications of very large hail coming right down I-35 and beginning to approach the area, approach downtown. This particular storm has been trying to hook for at least the last 30 minutes or so. You see this structure here? That's on where the greatest updraft is. So just to the right of that, that's where the hail core is going to be. So this is the strongest updraft. Here's where the largest hail core should be. Excuse me. And let's take a look. This is our hail scope. And there you go. So there's the hook. There's the hail core. Those two together indicate what could potentially be a forming tornado. Now, if we had on our velocity scan the very bright green and the very bright red together, that would indicate a tornado. However, we do have green, we do have red, they are together, but what we call gate-to-gate shear, that is the difference between the two as they're very close, does not indicate a very closed, strong circulation. That being said, there could be a broader area of circulation that's ongoing in that part of the storm. So if you're experiencing some very gusty winds, get away from the windows. It's right along Mopec now, south of 183. So this is getting down into the Spicewood Springs area, and it'll be coming right down Mopec there. That's where we could see the gusty winds. So there's the hook, such as it is. It's sort of been threatening to form for the last, I don't know, 45 minutes maybe. But off to the right of that that's where the hail core is. And there's the hail core. This is a very large hail core. It's something like 10 miles in diameter or 10 miles across. So yeah, about 11 or 12. So that hail core has been persistent for at least the last 45 minutes, I think. And so we are seeing significant damage, probably from Round Rock to Wells Branch, down to Palmer Lane, and now moving down I-35 towards North Austin and the 183-35 interchange there. So some large hail coming out of this. Very intense storm indeed. I will say this, that it almost looks like that the number of lightning strikes has begun to tick downward. Well, there's more than I thought. So still a very intense storm. Now heavy rainfall at Pflugerville, to Manor. That's probably just heavy rain. To the east of there, this right here, this is probably just heavy rain. So as we get into this part, that's where the hail core resides. Here's where the broad low-level rotation is. So we've got a whole lot going on in this storm, and we've already seen what looks to be some very large hail. I'm being told we have some more social media. There's some pictures from Central Texas showing some lightning. And so there's been scenes like this all over the state, and that is just what happens when you get a round of severe storms. Brushy Creek, western Round Rock, there's some, that's got to be like 2-inch hail. So that's like egg-sized. Here's some more. This is from Round Rock, between Sunrise and A.W. Grimes. This actually is encouraging to me. And there's some more lightning pictures. But until we see some examples of baseball and larger size hail, what probably is happening is that we're getting some contamination in the radar. That is, the heavy rain and all the hail. The radar's not giving us really the best view And that's the case with any kind of technology. They're estimates. They're estimating the size of the hail and that sort of thing. And sometimes the rain sort of messes up that number. Boy, there's a lot of lightning in that one. There's some of the hail in Round Rock. Again, that's in some cases probably large enough to cause damage, but it's not the really huge hail that was being indicated on the radar. So all of that encouraging in terms of the significance of the storm that we're going through right now. Let's see. Severe thunderstorm watch has been expanded. Now includes Bastrop, Caldwell, Hayes, and Lee. I presume it's still in effect until 11. That is the case, yes. And if you'll give me a moment to go through some of the data as it comes in here. So it looks like central Williamson County is now cleared from the warning. And I wonder if I can do this. Nope. Okay. So the storm pretty intense still along I-35. I'm not sure why that's showing up. Okay, so the storm is still pretty intense, but in the last few scans, we're seeing less purple, not as much of the dark red. The storm's still producing heavy rain all the way out to 130, Pflugerville, Manor, Hutto, but the hail core is still to the along and east of I-35. Let's put our little hail scanner on here and see what happens. There you go. So there's the storm. There's the hail. You can see that even the hail signature has started to come down just a bit. So there's that. That's good news there. The velocity scan still showing an area of what potentially could be a broad rotation. Now a little further south, this is getting into Westlake Hills, Spicewood Springs, that area, Northwest Hills, that part of Austin. So that's where we're probably seeing some very gusty winds with at least some kind of rotation, at least a low-level rotation in that area. So that is what concerns us. However, we are not seeing the very clear picture of a tornado. We saw that up in northeast Texas earlier this evening, up around Commerce, where we have the extremely bright red and the extremely bright green right together. And we have had spotter confirmation of at least a funnel cloud up there in Commerce. That's in northeast Texas. So we're not seeing that, but we are seeing what looks to be a bit of broad-based rotation across the area on the velocity scan. Again, the storm, not quite as impressive as it was a short while ago. While we're seeing the most intense echoes, see how those kind of fade through there? We're also seeing the storm broaden out. And as that occurs, that very typically means that the storm is beginning to, it's peaked and it's beginning to go on sort of a downward trend now. So that is all very good news there. Okay. So there's that storm, and we've been focusing on this one for a while. We've got some other stuff ongoing out here in Kendall County. That's a strong storm around Comfort, producing a lot of lightning and probably some gusty winds. Out here in parts of Mason and Gillespie counties, I think those storms are below severe limits, but we've had some training through this same area. We've had lines of storms come right through the same area from just north of Junction all the way down to Fredericksburg. So there is some flooding out there in the hill country, some flash flooding. And I think I can show you the warning display that we have. Yeah, there's the flash flooding that's out in the hill country for portions of Gillespie and portions of Kimball and Mason. So don't be driving around out there tonight. In fact, you'll probably need to be careful in the morning as well, because flash floods and people driving into flooded roadways, that's the number one killer in Texas, the number one weather-related killer in Texas. So there's that. We've got warnings in effect, Gillespie, Kendall, and Kerr. That's for about another 20 minutes or so. The warning for Williamson County, the central Williamson County, that one is now expired. But the eastern Williamson County, looks like y'all are kind of missing out on everything. The big storms out around Rockdale and around Taylor, and that area seems to be looking pretty good right now. So downtown Austin, you're in the big dance right now as we've got a strong and severe storm moving through the area. We've seen broad rotation on the western end of this storm. We have seen indications of very large hail. All of that has been coming out of this one particular cell, which started, I want to say about 2 hours ago, up in northern Williamson County, up around Florence. And this cell has held together since then and has been kind of up and down in intensity. Right now it's on the downward trend, and that's good because it's about to come through central Austin and really soaking the east side of the I-35 corridor. Let's see what the radar says as far as precipitation now. This is a little bit behind as far as time, but it looks like we've got significant rainfall there, about 2.5 inches up along I-45 in the south part of Round Rock, and about 4/10 elsewhere. Let's zoom in on this a little bit more. So it looks like Pflugerville got some pretty good rain right there along 45. That is A.W. Grimes maybe, but that's where the heaviest rainfall seems to have occurred, at least as indicated by radar so far, and about 2.5 inches of rain there. So that's all pretty welcome. What is not welcome is any hail. Let's see, let's look at the hail again. And there is the current hail core as it was. But let's go back in time. There you see right at the beginning, this is the storm that initially started up around Florence, southward through Georgetown, really hit its intensity at the highest levels right in Round Rock, and now it's moving into central Austin on a downward trend, and that's very good. That's we don't want to see a terrible hailstorm like that. That's supposed to happen in the spring. But here we are. Again, let's take a look at the big picture. And I'm Dan Robertson from the Spectrum News 1 Weather Center. It has been a long evening. We're going on about 5 hours now that I've been talking. And we still have ongoing severe storms across central Texas. And not all of them. And some of them are fairly strong, but not severe. Here's a new one developing out around Leander and Liberty Hill. Watch out for that one. Maybe some hail in that one, small hail. But as far as severe storms, the one in Milam County, right between Rockdale and Lexington now, and Williamson County, looks like you're just about in the clear. In fact, that 2 minutes, that'll expire. But Travis County, still under a severe thunderstorm warning, I think, and now Bastrop County. So this will go to about 10, 15 or so, and maybe a little bit longer. We've had storms all across the state. Up in Dallas, we started there with severe storms just after 5 o'clock this evening, and now they've sort of shifted into central Texas since then. So 1 inch hail in Pflugerville coming in on a report there. These are storm reports from spotters and other folks. Yeah, 1 inch hail in the Pflugerville area. Caldwell, Hayes, Travis, and Bastrop counties. Okay, so that's this particular storm warning right there. So that storm continues to move southward. So I'm going to do something a little differently here. I'm about to run out of battery power, but I don't want to stop our coverage. So let's see what we can do. Yeah, that's not what we've got. Okay. So I'm going to put on a little bit of music. We're going to take a short. We'll be back in just a few minutes. I need a quick break to take care of some battery issues and whatnot. So hang on. We'll leave the live radar up.